So more often than not, you know, when you first starting out as an entrepreneur, you don't know what your price point is, right? What is my price point? I'm not L'Oreal. I'm not, you know, you're not these big brands that are charging these prices because they've been established 60, 70 years, but you know you have a great product. So coming up with your price point is very tricky because you want to get it out to the masses where it's affordable, where people can use it and continually to subscribe to keep getting more. But you also don't want to be too low, because once you go to a certain low point, you can't go higher, right? If your product was initially in a Dollar Tree or something like that as a $10 shampoo, you turning around and trying to sell it for 30, nobody's gonna buy it because they're like, how are you, same ingredients, how are you marking it up $20 now, right? Like,
yes, that's a great point. And honestly, I feel like that exact thing has been a huge disservice to the Black hair care industry, because back when I started, the only way to get natural hair care products was from a Black owned business. Like, there was no mass produced, you know, companies. The only one that existed was Carol's daughter. And even she was making it herself, right? At that time. But then, you know, in true form, you know, we create things and we set the trend, and then like other cultures start coming in like, wait a minute, they making money, right? Like, let's figure out how we can tap into this. And so you start seeing relaxer brands come out with natural hair products. And so what those companies were able to do, like the Motions and the Mazzanis of the world, which a lot of people for some reason think are Black owned, but they're not. They're owned by L'Oreal. They can benefit from economies of scale, which is basically, you know, buying a whole lot of products, and therefore getting a very small price. And so they came out the gate with, you know, my price point, that my price is right now is actually around the same price that all the other brands were at that time, right? So we were all around the same. So if you were going to buy a natural hair care shampoo, you were spending $36, you were spending $25, you were maybe spending $50, you know, but you were spending some money because you know that those people were making it by hand. In comes Mazzani, Motions, and whomever else, right? ORS, all these other companies. And they're like, oh, they're making money, let's lower the prices, right? So they came in and they have much lower quality, because again, you can't have high quality and low price, right? You got to pick one. So they will come in with, instead of, you know, charging $35, $36 per shampoo, they're charging $12, right? Significantly less, right? So then the majority of customers, depending on who your customer base is, right? If you're a budget shopper, you're like, oh, I can buy this same thing for $12. They're advertising it, it'll work. Of course, they use it. It doesn't work. They're complaining nothing works for their hair. That's not true. You just use some bullshit products, right? So so people are using that, and that becomes commonplace. What I wish had happened, and this is what we did, and I so wish that everyone else had kind of taken the stance. All the Black owned hair care brands, they decided, oh, we got to compete. And I'm like, you don't got to compete. You ain't never going to win, right? So what did they do? They started lowering their price. So now their price is $12, $13, but you can't have high quality and low prices. So you had this super high quality product before. In order for you to be able to meet that price point, you've got to cut your products. You got to change some ingredients. You can't use extra virgin olive oil no more. Maybe using regular olive oil, right? Maybe you're not using organic coconut oil, which is actually way better for the hair than refined coconut oil. Now you're using refined coconut. So the ingredients are the same, but the quality is not, right? You're cutting the product. And so
it's not blue magic no more.
It's not that blue magic.
Blue magic.
And so they started changing the ingredients, right? And so now you've got all these businesses that were thriving before that started to struggle, because it's like, well, they trying to keep up with the Joneses over here. And what I really feel like, let them do what they do, right? Because you're winning on quality. They gonna buy those products and realize that stuff ain't working for them. They're gonna have to come back to you. So we maintained our price point. We were highly encouraged to reduce it. And I was like, no, we're going to keep these prices what they are. And a lot of our competitors, they ended up lowering their price point to try and compete with these lower price budget products. And 90% of those businesses today are out of business.
Wow.
Because